Yeah, he's so that man. Such a big IQ. What about yourself, Gods? Anything that took you by surprise?
I think these drafts, both teams kind of had a clear idea, got what they wanted. I don't think any big. Maybe the surprise is what some of the heroes. T1 get Death Prophet, then second phase Coddle.
Yeah.
Despite getting some OP-ish heroes, I don't think their draft is necessarily better though. So I like both teams here.
Interesting hot take. Do you guys have any hot takes or predictions you want to give me about who potentially might win this?
I just want to say Force has played Viper a few times this tour, so I'm a believer in his Viper.
Okay.
Big fan of that one.
So you're going all in Polaris?
I'll go all in. Oh, I hate Tiny though. God damn it.
Yeah, I also hate Boss 4 Tiny, but this Viper has a lot of potential to like go off this game. He's playing versus TA in lane, super easy. To me, it comes down to Lelouch and how well and or how many runes he gets to make
So I'm
rotations.
going to read between the lines. You're both going Polaris.
Let's do it.
Which means they're on the same page for once, forever. And Lyrical Gods jumping into game number 1. Please tell me who you guys think is going to take game 1.
I mean, who am I to argue with the person that called the Viper? You know, the whole panel's in agreement. I will say that, like you mentioned, there's some like mega OP heroes that T1's got, but do they mix together? You know, it's like a fruit salad. You can put some really good fruits together, and sometimes it just tastes terrible.
I trust you in that. You're a chef, so
that's right.
I'm curious. Yeah, I think T1 have ways to make this game good for them, like with some, you know, like they've kind of got the more playmaky hero in the Storm, at least to some extent. And I think there's a lot of pressure on players to play fast-paced Dota, which, you know, to a large extent hasn't been their style. So we'll see if it can work for them here.
Yeah, but likewise, they've been trying to improve and sort of break out of that mold. It feels like that they kind of got put in when they started beating everybody with the Dusa. But we'll see. Ward's placed down. They do spot Whitemon down there on the low ground. And I think it's interesting, right? Like T1, I think the panel was talking about this. There was this early commitment as that's going to reveal that, all right, you don't want to be there anymore on the Death Prophet. There was like, I feel like so many teams right now are coming up with these answers for Death Prophet. I saw like in the Liquid Gaming Gladiators series, they're like, we're just going to all in her with like Mars and Bloodseeker. This is like, okay, we're going to have this Ancient Apparition, but it feels like when you commit that hard, they switch it to support. This hero is still amazing. Who cares?
Yeah, like the hero can be really good at securing lanes, can still be really good at taking these early towers, like you rotate to, you know, generally the off lane, and it just gives you building damage, which, you know, your other cores don't really bring until TA gets like her Deso up. So I think, yeah, you're still gonna get value out of a Death Prophet, Ice Blast or not. Like, you know, there's some towers you just don't want to defend, and that's where having a Death Prophet's amazing because that tower just drops so fast.
Right, and it's such a little commitment for it as well. You know, a couple of times we've seen these Death Prophets get sort of dove early on, and then they survive a game that other heroes might not be able to. So definitely a hero to watch for in this one, but likewise, the dynamic that I felt like I saw with the T1 draft was just so much greed that they've got early on. And, you know, you talked about this like sort of mentality that Polaris has had of in the past not necessarily playing as fast and needing to do it here. It's because there's so much greed on T1's draft right now.
Yeah, so curious to see whether or not they adjust how they play this one. I think even late game, like they can still scale decently well. Like they pick this Wraith King into the Doom, knowing that you've got the double lives. You're like, you know, none of their heroes are actually that scared of Doom this game. Ember being the one that is scared of Doom, but it's very hard to get that Doom off. Like he'll itemize for a Lincoln Sphere. He's just super mobile. He's going on the back lines. So I think Cuckoo's game is going to be kind of rough. He's just looking to, you know, farm it up, hit those BKB blink timings in the mid game. But I do think Polaris is not just like this all in on the early to mid game kind of team here.
Right. Yeah. It's how much can they get done before T1 starts to come online? How much of a lead can they build? And that starts in the laning phases. Down bottom, we'll have to keep an eye on how this Mavis Natsumi lane goes. But a classic one that we've seen a bunch of times. Hey, Wraith King. What more can you want?
Yeah, a little bit of a throwback to a couple patches ago, but you know, both. Well, I don't know both these heroes. Wraith King, you know, got some little tweaks and nerfs over some, you know, older patches, but I think on paper this lane is still solid. Like this, nice thing for Coddle, very high movement speed, so easier to get out of the cold feet. But you know, I think this is a lane where they can put a lot of pressure onto Cuckoo and Zephyr.
It'll be something to watch for, as already starting down here. Zephyr got one of those Illuminate blasts off and trying to already start the damage onto Cuckoo. It's the cold feet proc onto him, but likewise, Zephyr right there to throw out another Illuminate blast. So harassment for harassment. Keeps it going.
Yeah, nice job by Zephyr hitting 2 Illuminates in a row onto heroes like full charge. So, you know, a lot of playing this Kalo, making it work in a 4 position is going to come down to just landing that spell, and it does take a lot of reading your opponents. So we'll go for another one. This time around does get dodged. AA was elsewhere. So we'll see. I don't think any of these lanes are going to be like hyperactive, other than maybe this top lane. Like you've got a Viper who wants to be kind of a lane dominator here, and then you on the other side you've got Death Prophet who's he's zoning out 2 heroes. This is what Death Prophet support does.
Dude, just ban this hero, guys. Come on. In your pubs, in pro games, just don't let it come through. It's too strong. As Mavis gets brought down very low on this top side. Does pop the salve afterwards, and no chance for a quick break on it from Zephyr. But yeah, this is what we've come to expect from the Death Prophet, and already Xavius, as we keep on seeing down bottom contestant for the last hits. He's pulling the creep wave back behind the tower. So they're going to just try and not lane top, pretty much. That's the answer to it.
Yeah, this one hero can own us. But now they've got that 2v1. They've caught White one alone. He's just got the 1 Siphon.
And starting to stack up the damage. Needs a little bit more. Level 2 comes around for Force. And first blood drawn by Xavius.
That was a big one. Hitting level 2. Because he got Nether Toxin level 1, which I'm not that familiar with the Viper offlane and whether or not like this is normally how we see it being played. But I don't think they were they couldn't trade with this Death Prophet because level 1 Nether Toxin, like you're just gonna walk out of it. It's better for maybe the creep wave, but it's worse for those harass wars, which is kind of what ended up happening.
Right. Uh-oh, got a little bit of a crash there. Surely he's going to be fine. But yeah, I guess that's the thing, is like that level 2 coming around a little bit beforehand with one of those creeps dying set them up to actually be able to play a little bit more aggro there. And I think that this is going to be a pretty quick Urn finished off as well. And if they can get one more kill up here, that's when the lane starts to really look bad.
Yep. Urn charges, you can snowball. I think that's a really good point because T1 TA is this hero that you don't want really getting pressured too much, but at the same time, Viper, Tiny, this is a great lane to really put your opponents on the back foot. So those first Urn charges, if Polaris get them, this top lane could become very one-sided.
We'll see if Gabby is able to get out of harm's way. They do have a toss still, but Force really low and not a whole heck of a lot of mana. Actually, he's going to get chased down. Gabby, he's going to find the kill. That's the value of boots early.
Yeah, had this big pause, and I wasn't even thinking, this is just a refraction level 1 meld is -5 armor, so easy pickings, nice little return kill. The first blood, a bit more value, but TA getting a kill going to help her out a ton here. I don't think it's a disaster for players. If anything, it's kind of nice in some ways for Force because he was so low in health and mana that he gets to kind of get that, that free heal trip. So it's not really going to hurt him. If anything, it means he can come back and go back to trying to do Viper things and dominate the lane.
Come back with a full pot, be ready to go. Carl, so far, has had a little bit of an advantage over Lelouch in the laning stage on this Storm Spirit. 19-4 versus the 15-3. Not anything to completely write home about, but it's doing okay for them as they'll probably head off and try and keep on farming up those small camps as well. But you can see that he's actually going to go steal the other bounty run. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the Ember started. Ember went to steal Storms to take it away from him, and then Carl, seeing him make that move, was like, okay, I'll do the same. Because Carl can't lane. He was too low in health. So smart move from Carl to, keep his lane alive. He's winning it so far, but he was about to reach this point where he would have to, go back to base almost.
And we'll have to just sort of stay there. Down bottom again, Wraith King seeming to do pretty well as another Illuminate Blast just barely off the mark there. And again, Carl maybe in some trouble here. Diving underneath, and Lelouch gets the kill.
Huge
solo kill.
Yeah, solo kills mid are always big, and they're not done. They get the kill up top. The Viper is online with Urn charges. This is exactly what you mentioned, Lyrical. This Urn's going to come out, and if they get those charges, it could get ugly.
I mean, that's insane. Like, because look at TA had 12 denies already, and only 9 last hits and 4 denies for the Viper. This suddenly starts looking like a really good lane for them. Well, we'll see what their answer is going to be for it. They're still technically behind, but it's that potential.
And this is cool. They pull the wave into the neutral camp. One, this is more farm. And two, it means TA's lasting in a tower, which is fine. But Viper's a great hero to maybe harass on the tower with poison attacks. So they're just making this TA's life like a little bit trickier than she'd like it to be.
Yeah, pulling the wave now over there as well. Carl has to come back into lane and be very careful. Level 6 on the Ember. It's still some potential here for a dive if they wanted to go. And they're actually bringing in Mavis as well.
Xavier's in a bit of trouble, though. I don't think he's dying here. He's just trying to stop some stacks. TA even came over to do some stacks, so they're really trying to emphasize this farm game.
Oh, one hit, and it finishes them off.
Just enough.
That TP just barely not there.
I mean, the fact that TA came over to stack with the Death Prophet really speaks to the state of this top lane. Gabby's jungling. He's done. This top lane is no longer playable for him, he's decided. And we'll be doing, you know, kind of passive, greedy farm things.
I mean, yeah, like we said, like as soon as those urns are online and Force has the potential to dive, even though he's only level 4, it's like such a unbelievably strong matchup against that TA. Can be a big problem. And down bottom, Natsumi gonna eat another one of those Illuminate blasts. And Cuckoo, I mean, we'll see where they decide to go with this. It seems like they haven't been able to force back the Doom at all, and he's had a really good start so far.
6-minute rune's coming up. Lelouch's trying to shove the wave, and he's going to camp bottom while leaving a remnant top. So he's looking to basically secure both runes, and Carl can't go. He's not level 6. So this should be Ember getting rune regardless. Very nicely played by Lelouch. It does give Carl his level 6, but, you know, that was going to happen regardless. But he guaranteed himself a rune and really has Carl on the back foot here mid.
Xavius, they go for it. Remnant in right away. Carl tries to get out and will manage to escape. As the regen rune is going to continue to go for Lelouch, and it looks like he's going to use that to tank up and try and pressure this tower a little bit more.
This is cool. He's got the Blightstone, that tiny bit of minus armor too to amp up, you know, this creep damage. Only when I thought he might go for like the all-in, like double remnant. He didn't have triple. If he had triple remnant, I think he just throws 3 remnants there to try kill Storm. But you know, you want to play it safe. You've got the lead. Don't make a play where you overcommit and give a way for Storm to get back in this game. Lelouch is TPing bottom. He's looking to make a move.
Yeah, they do it. Cuckoo caught already right before level 6, and the stun is there. Easy pickings. Yeah. So a nice rotation from Lelouch. They pressure mid. When Storm comes back in, now they're going to give Xavius this whole lane for himself.
Yeah. I don't know if that was initially a plan. Lelouch actually left a remnant behind. It almost seemed like he wanted to TP, get a kill, then remnant back mid. But because he used the remnant to initiate, he lost his one mid. But like you say, the tiny's there, so nothing's being lost in terms of someone getting farm, someone getting XP.
Ooh, Carl. Avalanche is still on cooldown for a second there. And they're threatening. Again, they find him, toss up, and, well, Carl barely able to get the zip away.
It's the cold feet toss. It breaks the cold feet.
Yeah, Fear talked about it. It's a problem.
Yeah. It's not ideal. I think he had to use he was going to zip out of the cold feet anyway, so he was just hoping the toss stun duration would be enough to get some damage in. It's definitely not a misplay by Tiny to toss there, but they just weren't going to kill him. Top lane, though. Viper is constantly running up this lane. The thing is, I think this Viper needs to be ganked. That's one of the things with off-lane Viper. It's a lane dominator, but at the same time, it's very susceptible to getting rotated on as Lelouch goes for top rune, but gets baited in.
And can they chase anymore? Carl looking to chase for it, and it's going to be enough to get that kill. Xavius tries to get a follow-up, but it's not going to be there. So a nice play by Carl. He comes on in, sneaks away that rune, and they get the kill.
Yeah. It's a little bit greedy from Lelouch. Talk about sometimes these greedy plays can turn around an advantage, and maybe we're seeing that top 2 where Force is going to try TP out. A lot of damage coming in, barely gets out.
That was so close.
Yeah.
This is again one of those moments where, you know, they need to be hitting hard at this point for Polaris. They're actually going to go in for a route there onto Carl mid as Lelouch comes back into the lane, but not going to die for anything extra. T1, I mean, they're really good at being able to avoid some of these bad fights and then just take the fights on their terms. And so far, we've seen them dodge a lot of the early pressure that we were expecting.
Yeah. They've set this game up in a way where it reminds me of, I would say, like EG's playstyle over in NA, where it's like they don't really care about these kills in the lanes. They care about getting more farm than their opponents out of the lanes, out of the jungle. It's a 2K gold league. They're down on kills, but just out farming.
Cuckoo, this is 3 points in cold feet. It is going to be a good chunk of damage with Natsumi in the area, and Cuckoo does have level 7, but is not going to be able to get away. So another kill. Polaris making it happen.
And I think that's what they need. They can't just, you're going to be out-greeded, but you have to punish it by making a lot of these early moves and rotations. Like Wraith King moving off his lane to come help get that kill. I don't mind that at all. I think we're going to have to see Lelouch play hyper-aggressive. He needs to be getting involved in, 10, 15 kills in the first, 20, 25 minutes of this game. Because otherwise, T1, you've got Doom TA. These are, the ultimate greed heroes in the early game. And Polaris need to punish it.
Yeah, they're still making all of these stacks too, right? This is what now, 4 on the Ancients. A zip in finds 1, and it's Mavis. He's going to get caught and killed. This is the 10-minute mark too, so you're wanting to get your level 6s on these supports. Immediately buys the tome, and we'll see where they decide to go with that first Ice Blast. But it's starting to be a bit of a lead now for T1. They're getting a little bit of separation.
Yeah, let's see what Polaris do in response to this. I don't think they're going to want to get into a farm game against a TA Doom Storm when their Wraith King's just not a hero that's going to keep up naturally. He's got, Armlet already online. I would expect a Deso build. I think Polaris just want to keep fighting. Toss in bottom. Cuckoo.
Nice. The old classic. And the Avalanche secures the hit with the Ice Blast. Cuckoo gets ran down. Mavis finds the kill. Very nicely played.
So what you got to do against these greedy drafts is just hunt. They're going to maintain at least somewhat of a gold lead, but like a Doom with a Midas, it's a gold lead where you're stronger than them. This could be T1 with a 3-4K lead, and Polaris is still the stronger team just because of the nature of a hero like TA. She needs she needs either a BKB or a Deso before she's strong. Doom needs a BKB before he's strong. So this first 15, maybe even more 20 minutes of the game should belong to Polaris, and they're going to keep making these moves. They're smoking up right after this. They're just looking to hunt wherever they go.
All right, well, they're also hunting on T1 now. So smoke going on the bottom side of the map. Also, Carl and Whitemon heading together, trying to find Force, but he is wisely back behind the tower. And, well, likewise, Cuckoo, he's not showing in line either. They both know what's happening here.
Man, not sure Lelouch made it an easy gank by any means. They've got the 1 point in the silence, but getting any kind of initiation on Lelouch is going to be tricky. So Polaris trying to get this safe lane bottom tower. They're pressuring with the skeletons. Lelouch mid, Remnant out.
Nah, can't get him. But yeah, this bottom tower, this is definitely dropping pretty quickly as they steal away some farm. Cuckoo's in position and has Doom ready, but you get the feeling that he doesn't want to drop this on a Natsumi life.
No, they just can't defend. I don't think they're ready to fight because Ember's super mobile. He'll come in. You're close enough to a tower where even Viper could TP in for a fight that breaks out. So really cool move from Polaris. The first tower to drop is a safe lane tower. That never happens. Taking your safe lane, taking the tower in that lane. Usually is a sign that things are going really well. I say that they're not necessarily going amazing because they are behind on gold, but I still think as far as where this game is right now, Polaris aren't going to be, they're not thinking about the gold factor. They're thinking about what moves they can make and how strong they are right now.
Right. They just need to take advantage of that now and keep shutting down the rest of this map, which we're seeing by this movement towards mid. There is a glyph available trying to bait out this Carl illusion, the Storm Spirit there, and see if they can get them to come in and make any moves on him. But no, they realize that's not real.
I think the nature of T1's draft is they have 2 heroes that are really just not ready to contribute to this game. Both TA and Doom need an item. Doom's BKB and TA, I would say TA is even more like a 2-item hero, but you can take objectives, take Roche with your Deso, but when you're playing against a team that wants to fight you, it's more about your BKB timing. So I think T1 is going to be all about the BKB timings, and until that point, if Polaris can keep making plays, that's great for them. It's a bit hard. I think this blink on Tiny, it's 4 position Tiny. This hero doesn't farm, but not having that blink dagger does make it a little bit trickier for Polaris to make these moves.
It's true, but we did see a couple instances where it worked out. I think that toss onto the Doom was a big play that, he's been able to remain somewhat relevant, making sure that the Ice Blast hits. There's been a couple little times like that where, this hero's a little bit better because of the Avalanche change. We'll see if he can continue to make those moves, or like you said, if it's going to stall out a little bit when this blink takes some time to come online. And Carl wisely going to zip over to the other side into Gabby Haste bottom.
Yeah, you can see T1 really just wanting to not let Polaris get all these runes because they can just enable so much playmaking, and Polaris will just go from one tower to the next. They're now got their eyes on this last T1 tower top. Zephyr is still sticking around here with Gloomy. He's got no TP, so he's a little bit stuck. He's going to try. He's just trying to delay and be annoying. He doesn't mind dying here. He just wants to. This is the let's create space for TA and Doom. And he just killed a creep wave. So they're going to get this tower, it looks like, without the creeps because tier 1's no backdoor protection. But it's still annoying stuff from this Coddle who's now like in the enemy's secret shop. He's just. He's on a mission here. I love it.
Yeah, he's heading off. I mean, they've got deep wards. He's going to go for a courier snipe. Why not?
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Little break there onto Carl in the mid. But yeah, Zephyr does look to get out. And, well, they might be able to catch them on the other side. Lelouch and Mavis playing together now in the dire jungle. And it looks like they're going to run by Zephyr, potentially?
Yeah, he's scouted by a ward. And we'll get found.
Easy Ice Blast and then Zephyr dead. So the question that I think does come up now is, like, you've taken all the outer tier 1 towers. Do you try and go for a Roche play? Do you just decide to keep running at them? What do you think Polaris need to do at this point, considering they still have this, like, strong period before the items come online?
Yeah, good question. I think they do want to force Roche. I don't think taking. I mean, tier 2 is like great if you can take them, but they've still got this window here. The thing is to force Roche, this Deso is the key item, so they're 200 gold from on Natsumi, and I would expect them to walk into the Roche pit because they want to take a team fight. One of the ways to do that when you've got a good Roshing lineup is just walk yourself into the pit and basically dare T1 to come and fight you. So I would say their emphasis now is on Roshan and this top tier 2 tower they're going to keep poking at. For T1, the way you're looking to counterplay that, I don't know if they can contest Roche until they get BKBs. If anything, I think the safe play is to give up Roche, but they do want to keep this top tier 2 alive. That's what Zephyr's job is. He's just going to have to keep playing this top part of the map. He's getting farm because of it, which is really nice, and he's also just being annoying and slowing down Polaris' snowball.
Yeah. Trying to stop whatever momentum they've got building. I mean, what's kind of crazy about this, though, is that because even though it's like complete dominance of the map right now by Polaris, this gold lead is building for T1 in spite of all of that. Where we're just eclipsed 5K, now it's 4K, but, you know, the game is trending in Polaris' way, but it's kind of leaning the other direction, too.
Yeah, I was curious what the Dota Plus win rate was. It was like 50-50 when I just looked, although it's now slightly swung T1's way. But and that's how I feel. I feel like this game, both teams have played their drafts how they're supposed to play out. Polaris, they're way stronger early game. They should be taking over the map. They should be taking all these early towers, getting first Roshan for free. T1, their plan is to just greed, to turtle, to just chill. And they're doing just that. So both teams so far are executing. The key phase of this game is like this first Aegis. Like, how can Polaris, you know, starve out T1, take over the parts of the map they're farming, and then for T1, it's going to be like, hey, double BKBs coming online soon. What can we do with these BKBs? Triple BKB even.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing that they're going to need to watch for, and they don't have much. I mean, you've got a couple of items that maybe will be coming out soon, but 4.5 minutes. You know what's interesting? This Zephyr Coddle reminded me of like GH's Coddle from back in TI7 times or something like that. Hiding off in the trees, buying a force staff, just dodging fights constantly. They will find a kill here onto the DP, but it definitely feels like just take no fights and buy as much space as possible.
That's his Coddle was a menace, that TI. I like that comparison because that's exactly what I mean. We've seen Zephyr do this game so far. To me, he's been the most impactful player of T1, which is naturally just because their 3 cores are just trying to farm. Like, no one else can have an impact on this game. But the reason T1 have this gold lead to me is because of Zephyr.
Making the space for the rest of his cores to come online, and they're getting closer. Now, it is going to be a disassembled Dragon Lance, and I think the full BKB just now brought out. So the timing of this is really good. And Carl Zips looking, I don't know what he was looking for there. Is that a misclick?
Not entirely sure. Maybe, it was kind of headed towards the room, but he didn't go all the way. Lucia's on the Clayfair. Has an arcane room, but he's a bit low on mana.
Maybe just scouting, trying to break a smoke or something, showing off the null talismans, you know?
Natsumi's low, so if you can, like, kill his reincarnation.
Good kill here onto Mavis. Can he do it solo? Carl, in the duration of his BKB, is going to find that kill. And then just walks away, zips away, and they're back to it.
I guess that's what he was trying to do before, just kill a support. 9-second BKB, like, not maybe a guarantee, not like an obvious, like, oh yeah, huge win, you get a kill. But getting kills when your opponents have Aegis, it always feels annoying because it just means Polaris maybe don't want to make the same moves. But I'm not sure it's really worth it because AA is so low level, he's already back alive. So, and when as soon as you respawn, you can throw out an ultimate. Like, you don't have to be with your team to have an impact as an AA.
No, and you can see though that they did slow it down for a second. Polaris head out of the jungle, now going to start going back up to the top side. Kalo there, his BKB is on cooldown for 30 seconds, and Lelouch don't think he quite caught sight of there. They might have actually Remnant, and then the zip away. So yeah, more space trying to be created here by T1.
I think T1's biggest limiting factor this game, to the reason they're kind of on even footing, or I mean, I guess you could argue even slightly behind, has been the lack of blink daggers. The tiny blink, considering how much map control they had, came kind of slow because the parts of the map, they weren't giving the farm to tiny. And then Wraith King, you know, you just don't prioritize blink. You want to get this early deso for Roche, but now double blink is online. So now they've got the way to basically try and punish Kalo for defending towers, and also initiate and kill these BKB heroes. If you can get the jump on them with your blink daggers, you can actually kill them pre-BKB.
Yeah, and that burst can just be so strong if you can, you know, find it. And obviously we've seen like the cold feet getting broken by the toss and things like that, but there's other avenues in the duration with all this damage they've got on that Sumi.
Double blink stun with Ice Blast is just like a kill combo. Yeah, they may BKB, but they're probably dead anyways.
We did see another wave get caught by Zephyr up on top side. He killed it off. They're hiding away. They finally placed down a ward up here to try and scout out and kill this Kalo. But it's still not easy. Like, they're doing such a good job of slowing this down.
He's so sick. The Illuminate plus Blinding Light is taking creep waves. Again, he doesn't care if he dies up here. He's only died once this entire game. I think that's what's been most impressive about his play. And this is just sometimes... This is the weakness of Viper. It's just like the lack of catch and the inability to force plays. Natsumi mid. Oh, he's going to die once and may just die a second time.
I don't know if he can get out of there. Wants to turn to fight, but this guy doesn't have a BKB. He's done. Oh, the moment of weakness there, and that completely blows open this timing. They had 40 seconds left on this Aegis.
Yeah, it looked like it was just going to be the farming. I mean, they weren't just going to be farming with Aegis, but a kill on a core like that is huge for T1. They are... When you look at the net worth, and you in some ways, this game just looks like it's super one-sided. And T1 had basically survived an entire 5 minutes of Aegis, and during the Aegis time, they go further ahead. That's not how an Aegis is meant to work.
That's the part to me that's like, at every step we've been talking about how Polaris have been making the right moves, and they keep falling further behind. And I don't know how to square that circle. Things are just looking a little bit scary now, and I don't know, man.
I mean, the big one usually, you know, we stay on the net worth here in the late game, but when you look at these last hits, TA has 320 last hits, 322 last hits. That is a lot of farm. And then down the list, it's just like nobody on Radiant's killing creeps.
No, it's been a rough one. I mean, this is how a lot of the games looked that Polaris played against the rest of the field, the rest of the teams. You know, they were doing this to other people, and now it's being done to them. And I mean, I'm just looking at Force here on this Viper, and like, he's going for a Dragon Lance next. Like, is he really gonna scale into the late game as like this big carry monster in the same way that we're gonna see Cuckoo do? Seems unlikely.
He's hoping. I mean, he can be... Ooh, top lane.
Nice play. And the Ice Blast followed up afterwards. Easy kill. Okay. Suddenly they hand one back.
So that time, I guess the Cold Feet landed before the toss that time. I'm not entirely sure about that interaction. But yeah, it looked like the Cold Feet landed. So no escape there. And they killed it. They really want this top tier 2 tower because that lets them take this enemy outpost in their dire jungle. And then it means, you know, if AA gets picked up by a storm to start a fight, there's an outpost to TP2, and you can play way more aggressive when you have this extra TP location. Plus, it helps you secure next Roshan, which is going to be huge. But T1, Dead Storm, they want to fight.
Oh my god, they got him immediately. Zavis, he gets caught. And now they just have to run away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so frustrating, I'm sure, for Polaris.
At the same time, I think they did a smart, good job of just disengaging. They're like, okay, they smoked at us, killed this Tiny, and Exorcism's down. Like, it's a support DP, so you're not, like, feeling... It's not like you suddenly go and make plays because Exorcism's down, but it does feel like they responded pretty well to what just happened there. I mean, both teams... This has kind of been a bit of a chess game where T1 so far have made the better, more economical moves in their head because of it, but Polaris are definitely not out.
No, it's true. It's just you know, wondering where we kind of go from here for Polaris. I guess the next Roche is going to be that other big one to watch for, and it's, you know, thinking about the dangers of what could come later from T1. But at the end of the day, this does all come down to vision and, you know, how the fights start. And we saw that last one. You find the Tiny at the start of it. There's no fight there for Polaris afterwards.
Yep. Yeah. Now. Yeah, triple BKB means definitely T1 have the ability to contest a Roshan, but you know, I think you can still put a hero like Wraith King in the pit, and you don't mind it. Like he got initiated on, and they kill him twice mid, but that's because he's alone. I think that's the thing you have to avoid if you're Polaris, is recognizing, like, you know, Wraith King alone, not a good idea. But when he's got his team sitting behind him, that's where Reincarnation is a really annoying spell to deal with, because Storm's not going to commit his entire mana pool. Heroes like Doom can't use ulti. Tia doesn't want to commit BKB just for a Reincarnation.
Gabby jumps forward, finds Force, down to half HP,
no.
dead right at the start, but a huge Ice Blast is going to connect, but is it going to be enough damage afterwards? Cuckoo getting chased down by Natsumi, but it's not going to be enough. Lelouch tries to find one. They lose Mavis afterwards. Zephyr goes down, but the big kill onto the Ember, it was not nearly enough follow-up damage.
Yeah, Cuckoo got the Doom off. He found the Ember. That's the one thing that you just can't afford to have happen if you're Polaris. He gets the Doom on, despite the Lincolns. And also, like, the Doom survived through the burst. I think he got tossed out or forced out of the Ice Blast, and something moved him out of the Ice Blast, and as a result, he lived through it all. So that was really unfortunate for Polaris. And T1, Roche is already back. I don't know if this was a fast respawn or what, but it's alive, and they have the heroes that could kill Roshan if they want to go for this. It's a little bit risky because of some of these low respawn times, and it looks like maybe their BKBs are all on cooldown, so perhaps T1 gonna, you know, play it safe.
Yeah, Gabby backs out, and I think that Polaris now, I mean, things are already looking a little bit scary. They need more farm on these heroes, trying to get in towards like that Assault Cuirass for Nets. I mean, he's actually just gonna walk in. They have no vision. This is kind of wild.
Yeah, I think just because Doom's on cooldown, they feel like that's the big, you know, cooldown that you have to worry about. And I think any fight where Natsumi's on the front lines and everyone's seeing behind him, like he gets gone is a good fight for Polaris. So putting him in the pit is one way to set that up. The problem is if he loses his Reincarnation for free, you need to make sure that you get either a BKB or Storm's mana pulse. You have to trade Reincarnation for something. You can't just trade for an Illuminate cooldown, which is, you know, he went in the pit and he got Illuminated and he's like, he had to go back and heal. Now he's healed again. Rinse and repeat. They really want this Roshan.
They also just saw Gabby bottom, but they're not anticipating the shard from Kalo, so they think that he's not going to be able to be here for this fight. But it actually won't matter because they just get the Roche anyway. Never mind.
So back-to-back Aegises. This time they get the shard as well. It's like Ember got the shard out of it, so you see that damage around the shard, around his fire remnant coming into play here. Not the biggest of shards. I don't think they have anything too amazing. I'm surprised AA didn't actually get the shard. A lot of AAs just like rushed that.
Yeah. I guess also in this game too, it's like that replenish that you get if somebody dies near you isn't even as good because, you know, you've got like, I mean, Coddle's hard to kill. DP is going to be tough to kill. Like, it's not a free one that we've seen some of these other Embers get off of that.
Here we go. The scary... They're going for this. I mean, we've seen... They've put the Aegis on Natsumi. They recognize he is not this unkillable Wraith King on the front lines, even with an AC.
Oh, man. That was the Daedalus hit.
Yep. Back to the jungle. He's like, what can I lifesteal here? Get some salves.
They're going to try and maybe go another round of this one with the next creep wave, but you can see just everything stalls up so much when they try and press forward here.
And even if they get this tier 2, okay. Yeah, they get the tier 2, it's kind of like, what next? Like, are they not... They're not going high ground, let me tell you that, against Coddle, Storm, and these BKBs. Like, it just feels like they need to take this tier 2 to try to get map control, but T1 are just doing a great job stalling.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what the late game answer is for them in general, for Polaris. Like, their mid tower is just going down to creeps right now. They feel like they have to stay around here. Ember doesn't have a TP. Like, the game is so tough. And if Cuckoo gets the initiation off now, he does have the Heaven's Halberd. They can break that Lincoln's route, able to connect, but that's so much damage. Push back in, looking for a free pickoff there. Almost gets it, but able to armor toggle and get away. But a very scary state of affairs, and I mean, they're not really farming.
No, they're not. And you've got like Carl's bottom, like is somewhere farming. Like it just feels like, and it's like like you say, what are they farming for? Like what we're seeing here with this Wraith King is going to continue to happen. Yeah, he's going to have a BKB and be able to like blink in and not get kited as badly, but it just feels like he's got a really tough game up his hands. Like even though he's not afraid of Doom, everything else on the T1 side is so annoying. But maybe this is the fight with the blink in.
Good force staff away, but the toss afterwards gets him in. Do they have anything else extra? They still have that Aegis for 2 minutes, so they jump forward, break the Lincolns one time. Carl gets the pull onto this Tiny, but will it be enough damage? He's able to go Scepter back away. Gabby is a menace over here. With his BKB trying to chase them down one by one, but with the BKB running out, it actually looks like they have to back away. They got to be careful about a couple of these side blades on the retreat. They lose Zavis Force, still all in the area. Avatos, big jump through, kills off Whitemon. They do anything else afterwards. Still an Aegis, still reincarnation. Carl jumps through, almost kills Zavis and will get him. Carl gets held back up. The chakra regenning, and Polaris, the slowest escape in the history of the world, because they will waddle out of here. And in the end, I don't know.
Man. I think Tiny died to a TA trap there. I could be wrong, but I'm like, how did TA kill him? TA wasn't even anywhere nearby. I think TA trap just sniped him.
Yeah,
because Storm left him on like 50 health, and well, they're trying to go this Natsumi, like he found a blink in, but as a force off, like he's just getting kited so badly every fight. BKB will help him a little bit, but your Storm and TA are just heroes that are hard to deal with anyways, and these force staffs, like the support itemization for T1 has been so clutch for them. Storms in again, Carl.
Finds Force, there's no answer. Turn around. Big stun, silence. Glimmer Cape keeping him alive. Force living and looking for round 2, but he manages to escape. Listen, how many times do you need to go uphill? Is he dead? No. Oh my god, just barely living. I want to see the heat map for Polaris over the last 5 minutes, because it's literally been all 5 heroes in this top lane the entire time, it feels like.
Yeah. And it just feels like they're falling further behind, but I'm also like a little stumped thinking out, like, what could they do? Like, if they go farm this mid or bottom lane, it means you have to stick as 5, because Storm is just out of control at this point. Like, he's picking anybody and everybody off. Like, he almost goes in 1v4 and kills 2 there. Both Viper and AA lived on like 100 health, and it was just a Storm plus some TA traps.
Yeah, it is kind of insane how strong they are. And I mean, that's not even to mention like the Dooms that are coming out. So they are doing that split up now, and you see immediately T1 get together, go for a smoke, and try and find a pickoff. At the very least, this mid tower has stayed alive as Gabby comes in and one-shots it.
He's done with that. I don't know. I'm trying to think what Polaris will need to do itemization-wise. I think Aeon Disc will help a lot for their supports against the Storm. Tiny's got one queued up at least. AA's unfortunately not going to get the farm for it, so there's not really much Mavis can get, it feels like, in terms of farm this game. As far as their cores go, maybe it's Scythe of Vice. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Viper go for a Scythe. He has a Scotty queued up, but at some point I just think they're going to need additional lockdown to threaten this Storm.
It's fair. Yeah, they need something else, definitely. And, Scythe, the ultimate late game answer. And it feels like that's kind of the direction that we're going with this game. You see these other pickups that get taken, right? Like TA going for this Aghanim Scepter, so she can be both farming across the whole map and then also still there in the midst of a team fight if things start popping off. These traps are really well spread all across the map. But Polaris,
combine that with Kalo recall. Yeah. Oh, both teams smoke into each other.
Jump forward, Remnants immediately. Catches on 2, but no, the hook's up, and now they got him. Doom immediately drowned onto the Ember, and the rest of them wanting to take this fight. They will go for a quick pick on to that DP, but afterwards, Carl pops BKB, kills off the AA, and so the trade is a support for a support in the mid. Again, favoring T1.
Yeah, I thought Gabby was in trouble there. He's in the front lines, he's BKB'd, but then he just uses his projection to get out of there. So BKB project out, and there's like, it just felt like he gave all the info for Storm to kind of then just clean up. Carl really unanswered now here in the late game, it feels like. And Polaris not having any good ways to control heroes through BKBs. It just feels like T1 can run in, pop BKB, and usually it's like you pop BKB, but then you get, you know, your BKB wears off and you're in trouble. But heroes like Storm and TA, they always have that escape. As long as Storm still has mana, TA has, you know, if TP's, you don't have TP, you've got the projection, so they always have a way to escape as their BKBs are wearing off.
Which is just an insanely strong thing until that extra bits of, you know, control come out for the side of Polaris, which, you know, maybe it's going to end up being this Abyssal Blade too from the Wraith King. And as his damage goes up, like, that is another thing that we can watch for, is Natsumi might be able to, you know, just come on in there and hit one big hit, a crit, and suddenly, you know, either Doom is dead or this Storm might get caught unawares. Since it was the Doom that went for the Shivas, there isn't really that other armor item that Carl really wants to go for, I feel like. So we'll see how the next couple of minutes play out. They finally take that top tier 2 tower just by eventual attrition. And likely we're going to be seeing a battle in about a minute for this next Roche.
Yeah, that's right. Things will heat up. We'll see. I mean, last time Polaris got a little uncontested just because they just lost a fight. Ironically, you know, losing a fight worked out kind of well for them getting an Aegis. But as far as to say this game, it just still feels so difficult for them. You know, they're going to need that lockdown. You mentioned the Abyssal. We'll see whether or not they can get some of these items online to answer what Storm is doing to them.
All the answers in the world, and we'll see if they can get it in time.
Yeah.
And 28 seconds. Again, Gabby being able to be like across multiple lanes and still be there for the Roche fight. This is going to be a thorn in Polaris' side for a while now.
Yep. It's every time they group up as 5, it's the split push comes their way. You've got so much more, and then Storm's just like, I can solo defend your push because, you know, I do Storm things, clear out the wave, whatever it may be. There are siege creeps there, but I just don't. I think trying to go high ground is just asking to lose the game. You're gonna get team wiped basically. Like you get poked at, chipped away at by Kalo, Illuminate, Storm Zip. And at some point, everyone on your team is like half health, or your supports have died because Storm just jumps the back lines, and then things get ugly. But maybe with an Aegis, it becomes possible.
Arcane Rune Storm with an Aghanim Scepter. Do they realize that this is going on?
Vision.
It doesn't look like it. So they will get a free Aegis refresher. Jumps in, finds a couple. It's a pull on to 2. Will it be enough, though, for a kill? And they just run away with 1. Now trying to get the Sideblade spill, but it's not enough. They pop the cheese. 4 stays alive. Now the fear. Oh, it's so strong. They will take 1 life of the Wraith King, but can they get out afterwards? Natsumi turns. A good avalanche toss onto both of them, hitting a hell of a lot of damage. And Zephyr's going to get caught. Remnant through, onto 2, tries to jump away again. Lelouch has to back out. Plays really good interference for the rest of his team after that DP kill.
Oh no, the Infernal Blade finds him, though. Oh, he was TPing out of the trees. Yeah, he was TPing out. I don't know if it was a long TP. It may have been, but he just got found by an Infernal Blade and got caught, picked off. He thought, I was like, oh, I got Lincoln's up, but Doom was ready with that Infernal Blade.
Wow, that is a tough pill to swallow there for players. I mean, they still have Aegis and Refresher left over after that fight, but you know, you'd love to be able to get away with that one without dying.
It feels really hard. Like, what Ember's trying to do what Storm does in this fight. So it's just like, go in, unafraid for your life, jump the backlines, but Ember can't do it because Doom is like hugging the backline. Well, in that case, the supports were kind of in the front, but Doom's just like hugging his teammates and basically saying, I know Ember wants to jump this hero, so I'm going to stand next to them. And if Ember jumps them, I'm going to either get Doom off on him or scare him away. But this time around, they maybe got Doom.
They got the Ice Blast on him. Cuckoo down very low. Yeah. Tries to find the backline there. Gabby beaten into force, but able to get enough separation. Mavis is already dead. Gabby going to TP out of there, and Zavis trying to survive, but Carl, his BKB is just too strong, and now Cuckoo comes back in for round 2. They find force again. They don't want to buy back on the Ember, but it's going to come back to haunt him. Now, they do have another life left over for Natsumi, so he should be able to walk out of this one freely. But a nice victory again for T1.
Everyone just keeps living through everything. Like, they've got so many great defensive items, like the Halberd, BKB Shivers on the Doom. And it feels like Gabby is just playing this style of play where he goes in with BKB, and the second his BKB is about to wear up, he either TP's out or projections out. Like, he knows with BKB, like, down, he cannot teamfight, but 5 seconds, 6 seconds is enough I mean, it's really like 4 to 5 because he has to TP while he's still got BKB. He kills a hero and just gets out. Storm.
Turn.
Oh,
Stun,
Caught
but
by
the big stomp afterwards. Catch
what a
to both,
stop.
and the Doom is down. They got him caught. Carl, though, making some trouble. He still has that Ice Blast on him.
No reincarnation.
Buyback, triple Remnant forward. Finding Gabby, it's enough for the kill. Carl
Alright.
does manage to TP out, and it looks like
They
he's
have no
going to
buybacks?
live through the Ice Blast.
Oh, they bought out. Zephyr, he's in the trees. Ooh,
Oh my god, he got away.
that would have been a big find. He did have buyback, but TA and Death Prophet don't have buyback.
They're dead for a while.
What's going on there? And Death Prophet buybacks on cooldown, fair enough, no issues with that. But TA buying this nullifier,
Don't worry, they have Storm. It's fine.
yeah. And they also have Kalo. Like, okay, yeah, it's like, it's like 90 seconds. You good, Storm? Oh, yeah, of course, no problem. Do Radiant have glyph? No, they don't have glyph for their creeps either. So.
Do they have a god? And they're also TA trapping the waves as they come down.
Yeah, this push is over
What
already.
a disgusting draft. Who needs buyback? You don't have creeps.
Yep. And now there's Refresher Doom to worry about. Like this late game just feels like T1 get scarier faster than Polaris gets scarier. Like there's no like items where you're like, oh wow, this is for Wraith King, it's just always been this kind of carry that falls off, particularly against drafts where you get kited. Ember,
Right.
I think does scale well into the late game, but because of the Doom factor, it's very challenging.
Yeah. You can see that it's still like they're giving him a middling chance. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they can make this happen on Polaris, but T1, they have not given up this grip on the game that it feels like they've had for a very long time. And it's just not quite enough farm going on. Like they're outscaling him. Doom Midas, you've got this TA that just keeps hitting creeps. I mean, Coddle is ahead of the Viper now. It's a rough one.
Yeah. This Viper pick past the lane stage has felt like a bit of a weak point for Polaris, just unable to, I think it works fine if they have a way to guarantee that they can, take all these towers, but there's no way to do that against Coddle Storm. So unfortunately, the hero has just not been able to keep up in farm or really snowball the game at all.
Well, 40 minutes in, and we've seen crazy things happen in the late game for Dota, so there's still definitely that possibility, but it's going to come down to, T1 probably need to make a few mistakes, and Polaris need to take full advantage of them when those opportunities come around.
Yep. Well, see if they can find them, because, I mean, they still have that, like, if they can get that blink stun initiation, a hero like Storm, I mean, he's sitting on 3,000 health. I think I love his item build. He actually ate the Aghanim Scepter so he could get another Null Talisman.
Right.
But, that's Storm these days. But the Kaya Sanjin, I think having the fact he's got 3,000 health here in the late game is pretty crazy, actually. Like, he's just itemized to survive that burst initiation, and there's just a little light on damage on the Polaris side. They just can't quite burst these heroes pre-BKB, it seems. But if they ever get the perfect chain stun, it'll work.
Right, and as the game goes later, you get more and more items that allow you to get the chains done. They've also switched over now. After the Aeon Disc was completed for Tiny, Mavis has now got the Philosopher's Stone in his inventory. And it looks like in the next couple of minutes here, these neutrals coming out and being online might also play a little bit into the role. Nobody holding on to the flicker for the moment, but you can see they're just trading off the map. And I think T1, they recognize the situation there, and they're not afraid to just sort of sit back and not try and pressure. If the only way that it feels like things go really tragically wrong is if they go like super aggressive for high ground or something.
Yeah. Definitely feels like a game that's gonna, stall out, maybe in for some 60-minute items. Yeah. Like, as good as T1's draft is and how much far ahead they're getting, they need to kill it. They can't just go, push high ground or do anything, because if they're the ones pushing it, it's not quite as, the same story, but they don't want to expose themselves going for a push, because they need to protect these backline supports. So, defending towers is where they feel strongest.
True enough. Sumi, as the Illuminate Blast comes through, he does manage to hit level 25 also, the Reincarnation cast Wraithfire Blast. So just anything that he can do to get some more control in this game.
Yep.
But T1 over on the triangle.
A nice little smoke move. They get a lot of vision up here, and they, I think, recognizing, Roche time is approaching. They're going to be looking to control that Roche area of the map, although you're kind of reaching that point where everyone's like got too many items. Like, I mean, Storm's got null, so he can easily drop a null for an Aegis.
Zavis reveals himself. Silence.
Oh, nullifier.
Jump forward. Trying to kill him. Will it be enough? Carl goes right in, able to get the pull there onto 2. Lelouch finding the Death Prophet. Eventually, they kill her off. Natsumi, down very low, is going to get popped. But he does have another life afterwards. So 1 for 1 so far. And that should be the extent of it. They also get the D ward up on that high ground.
Yep. See T1 come back in. This is kind of that point where they're, this is the first time where we've seen T1 like really make like a aggressive move that doesn't involve defending a tower or finding a pickoff. They made an aggressive move to just like, we want to take over this area of the map. I feel like we haven't seen that in 40 minutes of Dota. T1's finally like trying to take over like, hostile territory. And it's at a really good time because Roche is coming up and this is that area around the Roshan pit. They can take this tier 2 top. It's going to really put a lot of pressure on Polaris to move out on the map into parts of the map where they don't have vision. And they know T1 is going to either have cliff wards, TA traps, ways to scout them. So it's very risky for Polaris to make that move.
Yeah, and when they do eventually come back out, do they have a gem yet? I'm not seeing. Yeah, they have one on Ember. So that will be another way for them to try and like reclaim some of that vision. But for now, at least, like you said, Polaris, they take out that tier 2 tower, slow down the different avenues that the Polaris team will have to come back into the fight. And that's the advantage that T1 should also have, right? Like holding on to this outpost up on the top side and then also having the Kalo recall.
Oh, a super long Roche respawn, so maybe slightly worse for T1. I always feel like Roche respawn duration, it doesn't necessarily like a bad thing for T1. If anything, Polaris are going to start, if they don't have a way to scout Roshan, they're going to feel like they have to, feel antsy. They're going to want to make some moves. So T1 recognizing that, Roche could be up anytime. They want to get that full map control. They're smoking. They're looking for that next move or that next pickoff. And Polaris, same thing. They're smoking out. They're like, they could be Roshing. We're going to throw... They're playing blind, though. Like, the Radiant Vision, they've got that nice ward in the mid lane, but other than that, they don't see a whole lot.
Right. Dire, on the meantime, have the one up on the cliff side as well. They're scouting these areas. Get one down now in the area where the fighting's likely going to take place. And T1, in the meantime, might take back over this outpost. We'll see if that's the call or not.
Yeah. I think they didn't want to reveal themselves until they made sure there was no kills to get, and then once they, I think now both teams know where they are. Each other is, so
yeah,
we'll see if T1 make a move into that enemy triangle. They're gonna probably expect Polaris to have gotten down some vision. Nice thing for T1, TA traps. They can always see Roshan, and they can always they even have vision in this enemy triangle, despite Polaris making this move through there.
This timing now for Viper, even though he's been so far behind, I do kind of feel like the Scotty and just having a casual plate mail is super value against this TA.
Yeah, this Viper's getting stronger. Yeah, and I think Viper is going to be key for players to have a chance here late game, but hold that thought.
Nullifier.
Xavier's in trouble. Yeah,
afterwards, Natsumi onto 1. Do they have enough? The pullback onto 2. The hook stomp afterwards. They got him all caught. Oh my God, the devastation! As they take them all down. A triple kill from Carl. Natsumi hoping to hold on for all he's worth, but he does not have nearly enough in the tank to deal with all these heroes at once. So he will drop ultra kill. Oh, that's it. That's it.
It's over. Yep. I think they may not realize it quite this second, but they're about to very quickly realize it. It is GG as T1. They just held patient. They waited their moment, and what a sick hoof stomp. 2 heroes. Cuckoo refreshes just to get the second war stomp off. Of course, second Doom as well, pretty nice. But what a solid showing here from T1 in game 1.
So the buyback is 600 away from the Wraith King. Ember is about to tick back into it. So there is a chance that they can maybe hold. I mean, again, with no Wraith King, it feels very tough, but there's a chance.
Yeah, and the thing is, T1 don't... If T1 knew these heroes didn't have buyback, they'd be going for Throne, but they, they're afraid that these heroes will buy back, because not a single one is on cooldown. They just, 47 minutes in, usually everybody has buyback. If it's not on cooldown, you save for buyback, but looks like they're going to give up multiple lanes. T1 may just get the Megas here, but a lot of time where they're actually letting Polaris maybe respawn here, just because they are afraid of those buybacks. They've got no Doom, so it's T1 of... they're right to be afraid here. They're going to not even go for Megas. They're going to fall back and take Roshan potentially. Although Carl, he sees a pickoff.
And well, he's just playing with them a little bit. Yeah, backs away. Oh man, I mean, yeah. So again, technically not completely over, but it's looking pretty rough. If we're gonna be honest.
It went from, you know, like a 5 or 10% chance to like a 1% chance, it feels like. So it's yes, technically not over.
Always the best kind of not over. As a DD is found for Carl now. This refresher, I mean, it's just, we said that this was going to be the problem so often into this late game was, you know, if T1 weren't able to be punished, they were going to have issues. You've got Sheep Sick now done on Kalo, BKB finished for Death Prophet. Do they have buybacks? It looks like they do also on top of all this next round of items. It's a 45,000 gold lead.
It's pretty monstrous, and this nullifier's been the item to me which just broke open the game. Like up until then, like T1 would initiate commit BKBs and often not kill a hero because of Ghost Scepter, Aeon Disc, 4 stars. But now with this nullifier, like T1 are actually securing kills.
Oh, Carl. Oh, if that Ice Blast hit, that would have been enough.
Yeah. That little bit of status resistance saving his life there too.
Another one of those things where I feel like you keep on saying the phrase, if this, then that, but nothing's worked out well for Polaris so far in this game. They got stalled out for so long. Xavius throws his body on the line for the Kalo, just desperately wants to take down Zephyr that has been so frustrating to play against for this whole team. Yep. But they can't get it. He gives his life away and will have buyback for the eventual next round of fights if they want to go for it.
It's great to see, you know, again, Harp on Nullifier just being used and punishing Polaris. Like, they're trying to overly rely on these defensive items, and time again, we're seeing it just not work out for them here in the late game. 47k gold lead, 50 minutes in, and T1, it looks like they're ready to break this pace. They've got Aegis for another 3 minutes. They didn't, I like that they're just not rushing. It's like, often you see these teams like, oh, we got an Aegis, let's just go push. But it's like, they waited to finish that next item or two, waited for their cooldown, waited for double doom. And now they're ready to go.
No fuss, no muss. T1, they want to go to the major. They want to have a spot there where they feel like they deserve to be. And winning game 1 here is certainly a big push in that direction as they find him again. Jump in. Lelouch in trouble. Gonna get caught. Just dropped every damn thing on him. Carl, godlike. They will throw out another Ice Blast here, so Cuckoo might finally get punished a little bit, but instead just walks forward, now goes in for the Doom, finds Force, Remnants through, but is it going to be nearly enough? I don't think so. They find that Viper. He's dead again. They're doing so much damage from Lelouch, but in the end, it is not enough. Everybody's back alive again for T1 as they finally focus down these buildings. The support, Death Prophet, takes care of business with this exorcism going, and Gabby just way too strong at this point.
Yeah. Carl just jumps in and refreshes. He used Refresher for double Vortex just to kill that Ember. He's not done. He's in again with a multi-hero Vortex.
Oh, and
into the meat grinder.
Yeah, that was a beatdown, man. 55k gold lead is the highest I've seen in a while.
Which is, you know, it's a game where for a good 25 minutes, Polaris, you know, in some ways maybe felt like they were in control, but I think it's a game, if you talk to T1, they're going to feel like this game was in the bag the entire time. And I definitely, like, the more you watch this game and see how they played it, it was like a very conscious decision, like, let's just give up this part of the map. Let's make, you know, we don't care about defending this. We're getting farm. We go late game. I think T1 had a clear game plan, and it's great to see that they didn't feel like they were pressured to make a move just because Polaris were the ones setting the tempo.
Right. Well, and to me, the thing that stands out is it's like we said what they needed to do, and they did all the things that we said they needed to do, and they still lost. So it's just like, you know, it just tells you, like, there's this window there. And, you know, sometimes if you can manage to find a Storm, a Death Prophet, and a TA all in the same draft, maybe the draft might need to be looked at a second time. But for now, at least, we're going to go to a quick break. When we get back, the panel's going to break down all the action. See you then.